All right. We're going to talk about a thing called Elodie Games, I think. Elodie? What do you think? Elodie Games. This is the smallest round of the week we're going to talk about. They raised $5 million.
My God, that's like no money at all.
I know, that's like literally a house. They raised one house in Pack Heights, and no car and no sales tax. Money from Andreessen and One Up Ventures, which kind of gives away that we're talking about a game-related company. And founded by Christina Norman, David Banks. Critically, they were among the first 20 employees at Riot. Riot, of course, is the studio behind the infamous and popular League of Legends, which is Rick, I can do this. It's what's the acronym for these things? The battle, multiple arena.
Multiplayer online battle arena.
Thank you. I totally forgot that. I mentioned that. If you haven't played League of Legends or Dota 2 or original Dota, it's kind of a 5v5 style game. Pick different champions, compete for objectives. Hugely popular around the world, especially in China, South Korea, America, Europe. It's just a great sport.
Big esport.
Yeah. Well, actually, really one of the first ones that made Twitch big, going back to earlier days of LOL, as it were. Anywho, Danny's going to tell us about what this company does.
So what's interesting here is obviously, for first, it's a game studio. So it's not a platform play. What they're trying to do is to create new sets of social connecting games that are cross-platform. And the idea is like, Facebook, you're seeing a lot of usage decline. A lot of other apps are also struggling to engage users. And the idea here is to say, hey, how do I feel authentically connected to other teammates on the web, right? How do I actually play games where it's player versus environment? We're all on the same side cooperating against an objective or against a boss battle, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
And so they're starting from scratch, building a new engine that will be cross-platform, mobile, console, and computer.
I mean, that sounds awesome to me. I mean,
it does.
My fear, though, is that if you have to make a game that works everywhere, is it as good of a game as it could be?
I think what's most interesting is, in the past, you kind of think about games as either hardcore or casual, right? And today, I think the thing that links everything together is social, actually. And I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing, but I'm really excited to kind of see how they tap into that. And the fact that they are cross-platform is also very exciting because you have to be to tap into the mainstream these days. You want to have somebody on PC, you want to have somebody on console, you want to have somebody, largely if you kind of look at what's happening in Asia, a lot of the gaming and esports are starting to move towards mobile,
yes,
which hasn't necessarily caught up here in the US yet. So I think they're tapping on a lot of really, really interesting consumer trends here.
Yeah, I saw a esports broadcast of a mobile game. And, if like in League of Legends, there's a big arena and big booths for the two teams and all that, and fire when it's cool. In this case, there was just two guys with their phones out. And so they had to dress it up. So it was interesting. So they had these really fancy armchairs they were sitting in with spotlights. And I was like, I know I'm officially old because I'm looking at this and going, this is dumb. But in reality, it's hot and huge and people love these games. And, it just proves that I'm now a little bit over the hill. But we're seeing cross-platform with Destiny 2, for example, going cross-save across all of its stuff. So I think
Fortnite is a great example of this. Rick, I'm curious though. I mean, 10 years ago, social gaming was a huge industry. Zynga being most famous is a game studio that raised a huge amount of venture capital, and then there was this nuclear winter. No one raised capital for a long time. I think Epic raised how much over the course of
a couple dozen million tops.
Right.
It
was not a lot. And then now we're starting to see game studios getting back into the VC's kind of lens. How do you see that world?
Yeah, I think social gaming as it used to be is a little bit different than what I think is happening today, right? Before it was more about the platform that it was on. It was on top of Facebook. A lot of the social interactions were really tied to monetization and virality versus kind of the core reason why people were playing these things. I think today it's much more about look, instead of hanging out at the mall or going to watch a movie together, we're going to hang out on Discord and have Fortnite going on in the background, right? And so it's sort of more of a true meeting place versus being on top of a different social platform.
Yeah, and so what's funny about that is that was first described to me about Fortnite and how kids these days, quote, quote, these 12, 13, 14-year-olds were using it as their kind of neighborhood hangout equivalent. Instead of going outside and standing around with sticks, they were just doing this. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And then I realized I was already doing that with Destiny 2 and my adult friends have all moved away. So we game together twice a week for an hour. That's how we stay in touch. I mean, it's absolutely a blast. And to me, it's way better than trying to do a weird group FaceTime,
right?
Which everyone looks terrible and you can't actually see anything.
Or a house party.
I've actually never done house party. Is that any good? Danny doesn't know. Danny doesn't actually have friends, so he's never actually had the reason to...
I play what's known as single-player role-playing games.
Is that just what you? I can't make any of the jokes that I want to make here because Equity is a family-friendly show. But you can imagine the jokes yourself. Fill in the blanks.